Hey everybody, I wanted to come on here today and talk a little bit more about health sovereignty and what that actually means. I've mentioned it and I've touched on some of these things, but I do think that it's worth taking a deep dive into and clarifying what we're talking about, what I'm talking about when I am constantly pushing for health sovereignty. And there are a few points to make. So the first thing is that health sovereignty is understanding what the foundations of health are so that you actually are educated. You know how to care for your body, how to care for your mind from the ground up in ways that don't require other people, that don't require outside influence, right? Well, I should say synthetic outside influence. And I've posted a whole video on the foundations of health, but it's very simple things like knowing what food your body actually recognizes and can utilize for energy and for carrying out your basic cellular functions. Understanding the impact of natural light on your brain, on your neurotransmitters, your hormones, and thus all of your bodily processes. It's understanding what real water is and how important it is and what cellular hydration is. It's understanding the impact of moving your body in natural ways versus leading a sedentary lifestyle. So it's very, very basic and foundational things that humans did for all of human prehistory and the beginnings of human history, and that we've really gotten away from in the last 200 years or so. And so education, that's part of sovereignty. It's a way that you can actually become empowered to understand and to know what it is that's good for you. The second piece is understanding that you and you alone are the one who is empowered to make decisions about your own health. Okay. So, if you are working with other people, that's awesome. There's tons of people who can help you, but you have to remember that they are professionals that you hired and they work for you. They don't become the sage that knows everything in the world. And I see this more and more, and it's actually quite terrifying. I've had professionals tell me things I wouldn't be here if I had listened to them. So just because they are a professional in their field doesn't mean they are the end all be all, and it doesn't mean they know everything and that they always know the best thing. And that's like part of the beauty of being able to think about things for yourself and analyze things, is that you can maybe find the professionals who do know more and are able to help you and can help lead you to the right places. But remember that just because you start working with one person doesn't mean you're stuck with them. I can't even tell you how many people I talk to who are afraid to tell their doctors that they don't want to do the thing their doctor recommended. Okay, so the second piece of that is you do not have to take the advice of the people that you hire to help you on your health journey. You don't have to. It's up to you. It's not up to them. So you should not be afraid to tell them what you want or to ask questions. And if you are working with a person who will not listen to you, will not help you reach your own goals, will not help you be connected, fire them. Find somebody who will help you and will support you and listen to you in what your own goals and your own choices are. And there's a little nuance here because you have to understand where the money is. So there are plenty of modern healthcare professionals who are receiving money from pharmaceutical companies, and they get a certain amount every time they prescribe a certain medication. So do you think that would cloud their judgment at all? Right? So we really have to use our full awareness to understand that there is a way to get professional help, and in some cases that's absolutely necessary. And yet at the end of the day, it's still you. You still are the deciding person on whether you follow that recommendation, and whether or not you feel comfortable and good about who you're working with. Another piece of this puzzle is understanding and empowering yourself with the knowledge that common is not the same thing as normal. So if you hear or see or are told that feeling unwell is normal, let's back up a step because it's not, okay? There are, in our population, people are sicker than ever before. A higher percentage of people with chronic illness, chronic disease, feeling awful and being told, oh, that's normal. Okay. It is common, which is different from normal. And, if you look into things like numbers on lab tests and what they compare your measurements to, the normal range moves regularly to keep up with the average of the population. So do you want to accept average if average makes you feel bad, right? So we're striving for something that's beyond common and beyond average because our bodies are capable of supporting us on that journey. The fourth piece is understanding that there are actually options for you. So if you need support beyond the 5 foundations, which we all do at different times of life, that we can go and seek out, modern medical professionals, and that's a perfectly viable option if we keep in mind everything I'm saying. And to understand that there are actually more options beyond that. There are other modalities, other paradigms, other schools of thought, other schools of medicine that we have been inundated with this message that those are all a form of quackery and that they're not serious. But the really funny part of that is that some of these have been around for thousands and thousands of years, way longer than modern medicine has been around. And they've been helping people, and there is an immense amount of evidence showing, and it might not be funded studies, right? But it's anecdotal evidence and thousands of years of practitioners taking notes on how they were helping people and what helped, and exactly the protocols, that these systems have a lot of efficacy. And you actually have the choice to seek these out. And at the very least, if you're hesitant about that, you can actually just educate yourself. It doesn't mean you have to go that route. You can just look into it, talk to someone, see what it's all about, and kind of weigh out your options. I could go this route, I could go this route. Maybe we try this, and if that doesn't work, maybe we try that. But that's on you. Nobody else is going to do that for you. And that's part of health sovereignty, is feeling empowered to seek out all of your options, to learn about all of your options, and then to decide based on what you feel is right for you. Okay, and not buying into someone else telling you that it's stupid for you to do that or dangerous for you to consider that. It's none of their business. It's your body. It's your path. You get to make those choices. The next piece of this is leading into how we educate ourselves. You are allowed to research things yourself. I absolutely despise how the phrase "do your own research" has become so political. So this happened about 5 years ago. Suddenly you're considered anti-science and super dangerous if you talked about researching things yourself. Now, this is like the most absurd idea that I have seen fly across society and become adopted by everyone. Why in the world would it be good for you to stop asking questions and to stop being curious and to stop looking deeper into decisions before you make them? That's never a good thing in any aspect of your life, much less your health. Like, your future is at stake. So absolutely look into things, right? Absolutely. So scientific studies that have been published are accessible to anyone. You can go on PubMed. You can pull up studies, and you should educate yourself enough to understand what it is you're looking at. Okay, so there's a lot of pieces. Some studies are not peer reviewed. Okay, well, let's find the peer reviewed studies. Let's figure out how to do that. Some studies are done in a petri dish, so outside of a living organism. Some are done in living organisms that are not human, and then some are clinical human trials. So that can also give you information about whatever the results of the studies were. So for example, if you're wondering, should I take this herb? And they're saying, oh, we did a study on it and it's really, really dangerous. And so we took some rats and we took one chemical constituent out of this plant, and then we injected it intravenously at like a third of the rat's body weight every day for 5 days until the rat got liver cancer. then you can kind of understand that that's not how humans would take it. And also, that's probably not how it's going to impact the human body, right? So understanding what you're reading, understanding what you're looking for when you're reading the studies, looking into who funded the study. And if if you're not aware of that, just look up what happened during the whole fat versus sugar debate back in the 70s and the big sugar and fat studies and who funded those and then what happened as the result of that. Because the foods that Americans consume today are a direct result of the studies that were funded by a corporation with their own best interests at heart. So sometimes doing your own research is actually just as simple as reading the side effects of a medication before you decide to take it. It can be that simple. But so many people don't even do that. They just take something because they were told to take it and they don't look into it. So, my favorite is when you're being told you need to take a medication to treat something, but then the side effect causes that thing that you're trying to take the medication to stop, right? So there's an irony in that. So just read the side effects. So you absolutely can get second opinions from other professionals and other practitioners. You absolutely can look into what other people's experience has been on any sort of protocol or medication or intervention. You absolutely can look up what has happened when this has been studied, if it's been studied, and you absolutely are making, you're empowered to do this. You should know how to do this. You should do this all the time. There's no reason why you shouldn't do this. And it's really unfortunate that this has been demonized and that I think a lot of Americans are actually dumber for it. So this is another part of health sovereignty. So finally, to sum up, health sovereignty is knowing that at the end of the day, it is absolutely up to you to tend to your own well-being. That's not up to anybody else. That's not in anybody else's control. That's you actually standing up and saying, I'm going to prioritize myself, my future, and my well-being. And so I'm going to educate myself and I'm going to look into what my choices are, and to recognize that you yourself actually get the final say in what route you take, right? Whether or not you get professional help, whether or not you take medications or medical interventions, that's up to you, not anybody else. What modalities you decide to work within, what modalities you don't want to work within, up to you, nobody else. So it's being empowered to really take our well-being into our hands actively and to make everyday lifestyle choices that support us and that lead towards our health rather than push us against our health in ways that are sometimes irreparable. So it's learning about what tools are at our fingertips in this very moment that can make an absolutely life-changing difference in the trajectory of our health, because a lot of those tools are free and a lot of those tools are right outside our door. It's just about understanding and knowing how to access them. And at the end of the day, do you want to choose to spend your money on wellness or on sickness, right? Because that's a completely different paradigm. And so my invitation to all of you always is to take your health into your own hands and to come into a place of absolute health sovereignty. And if you have questions, please drop them in the comments because I'm here to help you do that if you do want to take that step and need help. Thanks for listening.